The Galactic Council had debated for cycles before reaching their unanimous decision. Humanity had expanded too far, too fast. Their colonies dotted the outer rim like a spreading infection, and their stubborn refusal to submit to proper galactic authority had become intolerable. "The devourer of Kepler 442, Chancellor Vex Thera announced to the assembled representatives, her chitinous mandibles clicking with satisfaction. It consumed an entire civilization in mere rotations. Nothing survived, not their cities, not their fleets, not even their bones. The creature had been contained within a quantum prison for 3 millennia, feeding on the dark energy that leaked through dimensional barriers. It was hunger incarnate, a living nightmare that had terrorized the galaxy before the ancient races had finally managed to trap it. Now it would serve a purpose. Release it in the Sol system, commanded High Admiral Korthek, his scaled hide rippling with anticipation. Let the humans face true terror. They will beg for our mercy within days. The transport ship Void's End materialized at the edge of human space, its crew of condemned criminals tasked with one final mission. They jettisoned the quantum prison toward Earth's moon, then activated their faster-than-light drives, fleeing before the container's automated systems could breach. Dr. Sarah. Chen was monitoring deep space communications when the alarms began screaming across Luna Base 7. The readings made no sense. Massive energy signatures, impossible gravitational distortions, and something else. Something that made her instruments register readings she'd never seen before. "Command, this is Chen," she spoke into her communicator, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We have an unidentified entity breaching lunar orbit. It's big." The devourer emerged from its prison like smoke becoming solid, a writhing mass of shadow and hunger that defied conventional physics. It was larger than any ship in the human fleet, its form constantly shifting between states of matter, driven by an insatiable need to consume. It descended upon Luna Base 7 with the fury of a stellar collapse. But something unexpected happened. Instead of fleeing in terror as the Galactic Council had predicted, the humans did what they always did when faced with the impossible. They got curious. Dr. Chen stood at the observation deck as the creature enveloped the outer sections of the base, her scientific mind racing even as her colleagues evacuated. The entity wasn't just consuming matter. It was sampling it, learning from it, and in its writhing depths, she saw something that made her gasp. Loneliness. "It's been isolated for 3,000 years, she whispered, her breath fogging the reinforced viewport. "It doesn't just hunger for matter, it hungers for connection." While the evacuation proceeded around her, Chen did something that would have seemed insane to any rational being in the galaxy. She opened the base's communication array and began transmitting, not distress calls but mathematical sequences. Prime numbers, the Fibonacci sequence, musical harmonies converted to digital code. The devourer paused. For the first time in 3 millennia, something had tried to communicate with it rather than flee or attack. The creature's massive form rippled and tentatively it responded. Simple patterns at first, then increasingly complex mathematical relationships. Dr. Chen smiled and began transmitting human art. Digitized paintings, poetry, music. The creature absorbed each transmission with what could only be described as wonder, its chaotic form beginning to stabilize into more geometric patterns. Within hours, ships from across human space began arriving, not warships but research vessels, communication specialists, and xenobiologists. Where other species would have assembled fleets and weapons, humans brought scientists and translators. Commander Jake Morrison arrived aboard the research vessel Curiosity to find Dr. Chen sitting cross-legged on the observation deck, the devourer's massive form gently wrapped around the base's communication array like a cat curled around a favorite toy. "Status report, Doctor?" he asked, though he could hardly believe what he was seeing. "We've established basic communication protocols," Chen replied, not taking her eyes off the creature. "It calls itself..." Well, the closest translation would be the Lonely One. It's been feeding on dark energy for millennia because it had nothing else. No companionship, no stimulation, no purpose beyond survival. The creature had tentatively extended smaller tendrils toward the viewing port, pressing gently against the transparent aluminum. Chen placed her hand against the barrier, and the entity's form shifted to mirror the gesture. "It's incredibly intelligent," she continued. More so than any AI we've ever created. And it's been completely alone for 3,000 years. The Council didn't release a weapon. They released a prisoner who just wanted someone to talk to. Over the following weeks, humanity did what it did best. It improvised, adapted, and ultimately embraced the impossible. Teams of linguists worked with the entity to develop a proper communication system. Engineers designed containment fields not to imprison, but to provide the creature with comfortable spaces aboard human vessels. Psychologists, yes, they brought psychologists for an extra-dimensional entity, worked to help it process millennia of isolation. The being they had named Void, it seemed to like the designation, began accompanying human exploration fleets, its unique abilities proving invaluable for deep space reconnaissance. It could phase through solid matter to explore derelict ships, manipulate dark energy to provide power for remote installations, and its vast intelligence made it an unparalleled research partner. When the Galactic Council learned of humanity's response, Chancellor Vexithara's mandibles clacked in disbelief. "They did what?" she demanded. They adopted it, Chancellor," her aide reported, consulting his datapad with visible confusion. Their communications referred to it as their cosmic buddy. They've given it designation as an honorary citizen and apparently throw it birthday parties. High Admiral Korthek collapsed into his command throne, his scales dulling with shock. They threw birthday parties. For the devourer of Kepler 442, they've also registered formal complaints with the Council for the entity's unlawful imprisonment, and are demanding reparations for what they term 3 millennia of psychological trauma. The aide added helpfully. The Council had sought to break humanity's spirit by unleashing their greatest nightmare. Instead, humanity had looked at loneliness incarnate and decided it needed a friend. They had taken a weapon of mass destruction and turned it into a companion, a colleague, and ultimately family. As Void accompanied the human colony ship New Horizons toward unexplored regions of space, its massive form gracefully dancing through the cosmic void alongside humanity's vessels, Dr. Chen reflected on the irony. The Galactic Council had been right about one thing. They had released a monster. They just hadn't realized that sometimes monsters simply needed someone to understand them.